What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another live stream of Jay's Corner TCG. My name is Joey. This is Poké Dak. And without further ado, guys, let's get this underway. As I hear some sirens in the background. Hey, what's going on, Dak? How you doing today?
Doing good, man. Doing good. Stoked to be here. I feel like the Worm Gang has been harassing me to get on this podcast for a good amount of time, and I think it's about time. I really do. I feel like it's about time, man.
Hey, yo,
I feel like we've been kind of... Oh, go ahead.
No, Marshall been on me like, hey, when's Dak coming on? I'm like, I got you. Don't worry.
Seriously, dude. I feel like we've been on the come up together. I feel like we've been sister channels. Let's call it sister channels for lack of a better word, man. So and it's really good to finally get to talk to you.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And yeah, I kind of point that out too. It's, I was, steady doing what I was doing on my channel, but then Stephen Kahn came over, I think, from a raid from another channel, probably Powder's stream. And then ever since then, I couldn't get Stephen out of my chat, like, and I didn't know
he finds a way to invade.
And I didn't know you at that time. And then all of a sudden, I think you came over on a raid too. And I was like, Dad, who's Poké Dak? So I kind of like found you, went over to your channel, investigated a bit. I'm like, oh, okay, I see this guy. I like him. He's cool, And from there on, it kind of just, we've always, shown love to each other. You've thrown me a million raids, which I appreciate. One day I'm going to stream early. One day, guys, I'm going to stream early so I could throw this man a raid too. But
no, dude, no, it's all good, man. It was awesome. Shout out. I think it was Stephen Kahn and Clamp Fan that brought me to your stream.
Really?
I'm pretty sure it was one. I think it was one of the two. Like, I can't remember what happened first. Mm-hmm. If they brought you to my stream or they brought me to your stream.
I think they brought you to my stream, which is cool and very, very cool of them. And I was like, all right, cool. Like, appreciate you guys. Yeah. I wasn't even asking for anything. I was like, oh, this is awesome. And it's been a wrap ever since.
Yeah, so shout out to those two, man. They are freaking. They're the definition of legends, man. They are two of the hardest working, like, unsung heroes of this entire community. It's kind of wild.
It's been fun to get to know them, get to know you on your side of the channel, and at this point we do have quite a bit of viewers that kind of overlap, which is always fun, being able to go from one channel to the other and show love like across the board right there too. Speaking of which, Clampy's in here, Stephen Kahn's in here. See you guys. OPB, appreciate you, OPB. Spection, let's go, Dad. What's going, Spection? Lux, what's happening? Super Insane, Fomo. Hey, Super Insane, you're over here in Cali right now, aren't you? Welcome over, man. J Chocolate, Marshall Law in the building as well. Thank you so much, guys. Appreciate you guys coming out for me and Poké Dak, of course. Laura in the building. G3 Holiday. Hannah Marshall in the building as well. She's like, all right, what's he up to over here? What's this about right now? Dak, I was going to have a question for you. Honestly, as we were talking about it, I completely forgot what it was. So we're going to go back. Maybe it'll come back to me in just a bit. But going back to you and Pokemon, where did you start off with Pokemon?
Yeah, sure, man. You want the life story version, or do you want like
I want your first interaction that you remember with Pokemon. I want the very first, man.
You got it.
Lay it out
All
there.
Right. So I was 94, born in 94.
Okay.
My brother was born in 92. So I was pretty young when like Pokemon hit the scene.
Yeah.
But my brother was old enough so that he was in it. And so I was around for like base set, and I was around for jungle. And the first really big memory that I have with Pokemon and Pokemon cards specifically was I had this one card and I loved it. It was my base set Arcanine card. I carried it with me like everywhere. And I had like one of those really cheesy like zip or Velcro like trifold wallets.
Oh, okay, I know.
Stuffed in there with like the creases. And that thing went everywhere with me. And I remember one of my brother's friends like stole it from me, like just messing with me, and he threw it in our pond, like my parents' pond. And I was like so sad. I had to have been like maybe 5 at the time, 5 or 6. And I remember like my mom, like I was like crying, and my mom's like, "It's gonna be okay. We'll put it in rice. We'll put it between books."
We'll put it in rice. Love it.
It worked for the most part. I was happy. I was a 5-year-old kid. I mean, it was a destroyed card anyway, but it was like for some reason, like that memory still sticks with me. Like that Arcanine card, like was my card. Like I didn't care about Charizard Hollow. I didn't
Uh,
care about, first edition, Shadowless, none of that, man. I just liked some random common card because Arcanine was awesome. And I think that's my first Pokemon card memory. I didn't really get into like collecting cards until probably like I want to say Rocket,
okay.
like somewhere around like Rocket to Neo, somewhere in that range. Like when I was a little bit older, like second grade, third grade kind of deal. And you know, classic story of had this big binder full of every single card, basically from base set to like Neo Genesis. Because back then it was like every set was always on the shelf. Like
Right.
when you went to the gas station, when you went to Walmart, like literally until I stopped collecting like as a kid, which was probably around like Skyridge, like e-reader,
And the YT
somewhere
right there.
around that.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Kind of like you could walk into Walmart in like 2001, 2002, and you can get a base set pack, and
Right.
it was like any other pack. So like we had the whole gambit. It was super fun. We kind of graduated into Yu-Gi-Oh as kids. Like we went from like in 2002, 2003, we went from Pokemon to Yu-Gi-Oh, but as we like got older, that binder was like stuffed in the attic. We each had our binders, and when I got reintroduced into Pokemon, which was probably like I want to say it was 2019. It was like early to mid 2019,
Uh huh.
like tag team era.
Okay.
Um, and I was the only person that I knew like of my friend group or anything like that was like kind of getting back into Pokemon cards. And it was I feel like everybody's had that story where like they reach out to their parents and they're like, where's my old collection? Where did it go? Like, did you throw it away? Did you give it away?
Right.
And turned out it was given away to our cousins who were like maybe 5 to 10 years younger than us, and just disappeared into the ether. So that whole collection, it was gone, unfortunately, but it didn't deter me at all. Yeah, I would say it was like tag team eras when it really. I think what's really crazy is Pokemon YouTube is what
Hmm.
got me back into Pokemon. It wasn't like Pokemon Go. It
Right.
wasn't, evolutions. It wasn't a specific set. It was literally TCA Gaming, Rusty at TCA Gaming, and it was Leonhardt for me. And like they're just videos that just kept popping up on my feed, and like I kept watching them, just kept liking them, just kind of got into the rabbit hole, man. Got absolutely sucked in. And
God, straight back in.
By the time Hidden Fates came out, it was game over.
And
Because
that was a
it
perfect
was
set for
such
you
a
to
good
get
set.
back into because I mean that set even to this day obviously is an amazing set that you could pull so much out of it. So it probably has a nice special place in your heart as well, huh?
It does, man. It was the set, and I like I said, I was like Gen 1, like I was there, but I wasn't really there. But like Gen 2, I was really there. Like Gen 2 was my generation. Like
Hmm.
Gold and Silver were my games.
Right.
I loved, you know, uh the addition of like Umbreon and Espeon. Like, I don't know, man. So having like Gen 1 and Gen 2 Pokemon in Hidden Fates was just like it was the set. And then Insanity hit, you know what I mean? And in I think it was 2020, I want to say it was when like Leonhardt pulled that first edition Charizard,
Uh-huh.
and like I feel like that's when just like the internet blew up with Pokemon, like really early 2020.
Uh-huh.
So I would say I was in like a year before that happened, but when that happened, like that movement, dude, it was all bets were off, man. All bets were off.
It was a hectic time, man. That's when you couldn't find anything else on the shelves. Everything was gone. And it seems like such a long time ago at this point, but it's really not, and
It's not.
it's not. It's still fairly new to a lot of people, and there's like a lot of new people that always come back into the hobby and find it. For
Mhm.
myself, I got reintroduced to Pokemon in like 2014. I actually just made a short about this. It's funny because like in 2014, I would actually always go through spells of okay, I have a nostalgia itch. Let me find my old Game Boy. Let me see if I can find my old cards. Which most of the time, when I did look for the cards, it was garbage. It wasn't any of my good cards. I had sold most of them. It was
Yep.
just like sleeves full of commons and uncommons, which I still have. But yeah, it was just like a nostalgia. I would go on eBay trying to pick up old packs, what I could at the time because I think I was still very fresh out of high school. 2014, I was 3 years out of high school. But yeah, 2014 brought me back into the XY era with Flash Fire, and I would pick up packs here and there just casually. And it wasn't until late 2019, early 2020 that I started really picking up packs a lot more at that time.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So you came back in 2019, kind of 2020, like mid 2019, and then why did you make content? Like, what made you? I'm assuming it's because you saw them making content. You're like, this looks fun, interesting.
Yeah, I mean, kind of, right? So I remember the specific video that made me want to like pursue the hobby more. And it was I don't know, I don't know if everybody has this moment, but like for about probably a year and a half, it was me trying to convince my friends to get into the hobby too. And it was like I didn't have a community at all. It was basically just like me being like super into this without like a person.
Yeah.
And I had like friends over to my house, and we watched this video from Rusty on TCA Gaming where he bought $100,000 of a collection. It was like $150,000 purchase, $100,000 purchase. I don't remember the exact number. And we just sat there and we watched him rifle through this collection for like almost an hour. It was just me and like a friend of mine that I grew up with that we played and collected with. And it was at that moment I was like, I'm opening up so many packs. I feel like a lot of people have this rationale. Like, I'm opening up all these packs. Like, I might as well record it. Worst case scenario, you know what I mean, is it's just basically like, get 1 or 2 or 3 views, 10, 20 videos later, you chalk it up to it's not going to be anything.
Right.
And that's kind of what happened. I was also like in the transition of like working. This was before. No, this was during COVID. It's so hard to remember when COVID happened.
Mm-hmm.
But I was like transitioning into working from home, and I was picking up YouTube editing as like almost like a full-time side gig.
Oh, nice.
So it was kind of like a good way to like work on the craft and like learn different things in editing. So it was kind of like a twofer for me. It was like learn how to edit, get to open up all this product, or get to record me opening up all this product anyway. And so yeah, I actually started my channel. It was like, I want to say it was October 2020. Like that's when I actually started it.
Okay.
And I hit it pretty hard in October of 2020. I think I made, there was a point where I was doing like a video a week, and it was pretty cheesy. It was just like me with my cell phone, no face cam, just kind of like figuring it out.
Right.
And,
super rough.
Yeah. I hit a wall kind of, because it was like, I thought I was opening a lot of product, and then you realize how much product you really need to be opening to open consistently. Like there's a huge difference between, spending, $50 to $100 a week to dropping like $800 to $2,000 in a week.
Right.
And it's not like you're making money on the content. It's not like you're making money with the product. So it was definitely like a learning transition. And this was like, so it's hard to remember not that far back, but in, mid to late 2020, it was really just Rev who was doing live streams.
True.
And I think at that time he had like 10 or 15,000 subscribers, and he was doing crazy shit. Like he was opening up, first edition base set. He was opening up Neo Rev first edition. And but it never really seemed realistic to do
something like that
live streaming.
Right.
I just didn't see myself doing it. I didn't see myself as like a personality that people would care about like at all.
Right.
So I just kind of did pre-recorded like edited videos, and after working for 4 months or so and getting like 150, 200 subscribers, I was like, I'm gonna at least take a break from it. My wife and I, we were kind of like at a turning point in our life because of COVID.
Yeah.
I started working from home as like a part-time consultant at my real job, and then also as like a part-time editor. And we took like this huge gamble, and we said, you know what, let's just leave New York. Let's find a way to get out of New York. We ended up moving to Texas, and in that time, it was just impossible to like record, impossible to like come up with content, come up with ideas to edit.
Hmm.
Um, and then enter martial law, my brother. Shout out to my brother.
He's in here right now. Hey, appreciate you on the dono, by the way, Marshall.
Yeah, let's go, dude. Imposter Tim too, hitting it
On the
hard. Let's freaking
1999,
go,
Tim.
Worm Gang.
Hard is where you roam came in on the super chat as well. I appreciate you guys. Thank y'all so much. Sorry about the delay response. You know, I'm listening to Dak. I want to know about this man. I want to know about him.
This is the first time I've been able to talk without like paying too much attention to the chat, and I feel bad like you're neglecting your chat.
Yeah.
And I'm just sitting here talking like.
Right. No, you're good.
Like,
You're good.
My job is to talk to nobody.
To this point,
to talk to.
I think we've done the podcast enough to know that you guys, we're going to be listening a lot more than interacting in chat. So I appreciate y'all hanging out in here. We're going to get to talk in the chat at some points. If you guys have questions, there's a Q&A in the live chat. Make sure you put your questions in there, and we'll make sure we answer them.
Yeah,
no,
and,
go ahead.
You asked for the life story version, so
no, I'm intrigued. I'm listening.
You're getting the life story version. But yeah, enter martial law. He finally, like, it took me almost 2 to 3 years of trying to convince him to get into the hobby, and this was like right after I moved to Texas. He buys his first pack of Evolving Skies. And him and his wife, in their very first pack, they pulled a Dragonite alternate art.
Oh, okay.
Like pack 1, like they got one pack and they pulled it.
And it was an OG too, so he's like, okay, like
yeah,
he can resonate with that.
Yeah, he called me super stoked. He had no idea at the time. I was like, yeah, that's like a $75 to $100 card or something like that. He's like, what? He's like, but it was a $4 pack. Like, how's this thing? How can it be worth almost $100? And it was just like, he was immediately hooked. So like from the second he was hooked, he started like, I finally had like somebody in my life that was also into it.
Mm-hmm.
Because as a collector, it's so hard to like collect and be nostalgic without having somebody to share it with.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
That makes sense.
No, it does.
So like the closest thing I had to that was like people on like Facebook Marketplace and stuff like that, where like I would be buying and like selling singles and like sealed product and stuff like that.
Right.
So when he was in it, it was like I was fully back into the idea of making content.
Got you.
And then that's kind of when Leonhardt's Pop Shop happened, and that was such a big point for me. It was kind of wild. Even the circumstances surrounding getting tickets to the Pop Shop were kind of insane. We had just moved to Dallas, and that's where he was holding the Pop Shop. So It was like in our backyard, basically. And one thing led to another. Hannah and I got tickets to my wife to go to the Pop Shop, and I got a gift for Leonhardt, which was like a pretty like thoughtful gift. And then I also had some rev packs, some Wave 1 rev packs.
Oh, okay.
And the original Wave, I think it was like 1,500 rev packs or something like that. There weren't a lot of them, and I had 2 of them. And I wanted to get them signed by Rev. I was hoping that Rev would be there.
Yeah.
But, the Pop Shop was a huge turning point for me because I went there with the goal of making like a vlog like style content. And also, meeting Leonhardt and hopefully meeting Rev.
Yeah.
And, I met Leonhardt. I feel like he's super like people either like kind of love him, hate him, or don't care, which I guess are the only 3 options. But, he was the guy that got me back into it. It was him and Rusty that got me back into it. So I really like Lee.
Right.
But I met him and, I gave him this gift. We had a conversation. And that kind of led to me like actually working with him. So like I worked with Leonhardt, not for him. He didn't pay me. It wasn't like a paid position, but it was just kind of like a collaboration of sorts where like I would help him with like video ideas and like build mystery boxes for him and stuff like that.
Oh, nice.
Even help him with like thumbnail ideas. and he would help me get content. We would just talk. It was good to like get inside of the mind of somebody who's been successful in the space. And at the time, it was him and Unlisted Leaf were the only two that were above like 1 million subscribers.
Right.
So it was like they kind of set the tone, they set the pace for the entire industry or hobby, whatever you want to call it.
It's turned
So I
into an
met Lee
industry at this
there.
point.
Yeah, so it really has. It really has. Met Lee there, and then I also met Rev, and it was, dude, he's such an awesome, authentic person.
He
I met
really
DPM
is.
too there, but like he's like, I don't know if you've met him in person or not,
Yeah.
but like he's exactly what you'd think he would be.
He's
He's
chill.
such a nice
He
guy.
is. He is. I got to meet him at a card party. We were able to hang out and talk for
Hell
a bit.
yeah.
So it was like okay, like even it kind of humanizes the people you see behind the camera. That's what I told the chat. And you realize, like, honestly, they're not all like bad, or like all these preconceived notions that you have about these people is usually not right or by any means. And when I met Rev, I'm like, yeah, he was like super welcoming and chill, happy, good person. So I had nothing but good experiences with everybody I got to meet.
Yeah, man, he was great. And like this was like his first experience with just how big of like a person he was in the community. So like there wasn't like a meet Rev table or something like that
Yeah.
at the pop shop. He wasn't, I think it was like right around when he was like 250 to 500,000 subscribers.
Hmm.
And when he walked in, the place went insane. Like he got like hoarded, like just surrounded by people. And every single kid who walked up to him, he took like so much time to like talk with the kid, open up packs with kids,
Yeah.
and even the adults too. He was super patient. Like he didn't act overwhelmed at all. But I brought him, the Rev packs to get signed, and like while I was talking with him, I was like, "Do you even have one of these? Like, do you have a Wave One pack that you made out?" He's like, "No, dude." He's like, "I never even thought about it." He's like, "I only made like 1,000 of them, 2,000 of them."
Yeah.
And by the time they're all out the door, it's I didn't realize it was going to be something that was like so big with the channel and what we do. I was like, "Do you want one of these? Like, I'll just give you one of them so that you can have it, as like kind of like one of those things in your collection."
Yeah.
And he was pretty grateful with that. And the dude didn't even bring a Sharpie. Like, he didn't even bring a
you,
Sharpie.
you didn't realize
He
like the
had
scale
no
of
idea.
it. No way he
He had
could.
no idea.
Because this was like the first like big event too, coming off of like after like the COVID and everything being shut down too. So it was like
Yeah.
a big gamble with everything at that time.
Hmm.
So I can imagine you just get hit with all these people. You're just like, oh, I.
Yeah, it's insane. Yeah. And I gave him my Sharpie, and he was like the most grateful person ever. He's like, I'll pay you back. I'll pay you back. I promise. And he was a man of his freaking word, dude. And when we did finally decide to start live streaming, once again, shout out to Martial Law. It was all his idea. Law went in with me fully 50-50, which I'm sure we'll get into this once we get into the Q&A.
Yeah.
But like starting one of these things is, I want to say, an investment.
Yeah.
It's not you can't really like go in super casual.
Yeah.
At least we didn't.
Mhm.
We didn't go in casual at all. We had a number in mind. We said this is what we're willing to spend, and if we don't start seeing payback by this period of time. But it was all Martial Law kind of like driving that, and like helping me kind of get started, get off the ground. But literally like 2 months into us live streaming, Rev hit us with his first raid ever, which was like the biggest turning point you could imagine. We went from like 500 subscribers to 1,000, and so many members of the Worm Gang now were part of that original Rev raid, which that mentality has kind of taken over the community too.
Mhm.
Like so many people are willing to help out other members of the community. It's
Yeah.
not like, can I be better than this person? It's how does the entire community get better together? And as
Yeah.
corny and as cheesy as that sounds, it really does matter. Like that's really what it is about. And I think Rev and DPM are really the first two to like really start kind of extending down, if that makes sense. It sounds insulting, but helping out the little guy basically.
Yeah.
And it's no small thing, too. I think you were rated by Rev as well.
Yeah, man.
But
I just put out a short to like and to reminisce about that, because that was about 9 months ago on the channel, and
Yeah.
we gained over 1,000 subs in that one raid, and it was insane. Yeah, like
Yeah.
it's
It's wild.
something else. Hey, cousin here too, saying thank you to both of us on the raids the other day. Hey,
Yo, let's
appreciate you, Eddie.
go. Let's go, Eddie. That was fun, man. That was super fun. Hope you did you hit 2K or is he almost at 2K? Like he's super
Almost.
close to 2K.
I think it's like
Like
a
right
one
there, like right
one
on the
point
edge.
nine five. This man needs a little under 50 subs to get him there. Probably less. Hey, cuz just drop a short real quick. Drop a couple shorts, and then you'll get there. That's when I
Agreed.
found Joey, said Joshua. Yeah, and just like on Dak's point, the amount of people that stuck around like after those raids and decided to
Yeah.
give the channel a chance, like on both our ends, and
Mhm.
really support and stick around after that, just it is crazy. I didn't think it would be as big as it was. And I don't even. I used to be in Rev streams a lot. I still am, but just lurk more. I used to be more active in them back in the day. But I don't remember what stream it was that he rated you. I didn't even know. Like when I went to your channel, I was like, okay, this guy's right here. I think you were at what, maybe like 4 or 5,000 subs at the time already when I found you, something like that.
Oh, okay.
When I
Gotcha.
found you, and I was like, oh man, like this guy's like, he got some traction. He's going. I appreciate him like showing love to me. And at that time, your raid to me had been like one of the bigger raids that I had in a minute. And from that, it transitioned to like more people like coming over. Like I said, I mentioned Steven, Clampy, all the rest of the Worm Gang coming by, showing me love. And, you can't undermine it. You can't not think about it. And it really just shows you how everybody in the background, like the stream wise, the community wise, we really do want to see everybody succeed and, do better.
Yeah.
And anybody else out there that thinks there's like animosity, there's not really any animosity. It's just kind of anybody else just making you think there is. There never has been or never really will be. I think it's always been a lot of love, like across the community.
Facts. Absolute
J
facts.
Chocolate says, so bummed, got pulled into a meeting, so I can't hear a thing from the stream. Hey, J Chocolate, the thing is with the stream, it'll live on forever, man. It'll live on forever. Rewatch gang.
Facts.
Steven Collects, what's going on, man? So you're saying, from the Rev Raid and, transitioning after that, did you have like a different outlook on streaming, and did you go like even harder like towards it after that?
So the one thing I don't want to say I regret it, and I was kind of thinking about this today, and maybe it helped me more than I realized it did. I wish I was prepared, not in like the sense of like, man, like I wasn't ready as a streamer or like as an entertainer,
Yeah.
but like physically prepared. Like I was still recording and like live streaming with like my 2004 Canon. It was like, it was like absolute potato camera. And like
The setup wasn't up to par at that time, huh?
no. I had a plan for, how we were going to upgrade things. And I never expected to get traction quickly. You know what I mean?
Right.
I don't know if like I should have, but we had our priorities, it was audio and then lighting and then video or, whatever order we had our priorities of how we were going to upgrade our physical equipment.
Yeah.
And when he rated us, like we just had like potato equipment. So like my best performing shorts were like right around that time period when we got rated by Rev. And I look at him and I kind of cringe just a little bit just because the video quality was so bad. The video quality was so bad. But I mean, honestly, maybe that's why they did so well. People are a little bit more relatable to that potato quality. I mean, sometimes you can't discount the authenticity of somebody who's on that grind, who doesn't have the equipment or like the perfect setup or have all the money into it. They're kind of embody the little guy. But we were pedal to the metal, man, right from the get-go. We were 3 streams a week from day one. The one thing we've struggled with, and I'm struggling with it really bad right now, is pre-recorded content and then short form content.
Yeah.
Continuing that cycle of always being consistent, putting out different types of content, actually having time to edit the shorts, record the videos. But nah, man, when Law and I decided I've never been a person who does something halfway. We were just balls to the wall, man. Like
All
buying
in, all in.
cases and cases and cases, just opening them up for ourselves, man. It was amazing. It was insane. It was quite the ride, man. It was quite the ride. It still is. I mean,
Right.
it's not like it's over. But I don't think I'm ever gonna see anything quite like the months that came after that Rev Raid.
Mhm.
Like it was just wild. It was wild. I think, your channel had a similar uh explosion at that time.
Yeah, I
Um,
mean, I think kind of just like you said, after that Rev Raid, there was some time of just straight traction and videos and live streams popping off. But just like you, trying to get on track with like the pre-recorded content and the short form content was just it just seemed so daunting, and like there was never enough time, especially with you. Like you're doing 3 lives a day. I mean, 3 lives a day, 3 lives a week,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
3 lives a
I
week.
might have said day two.
But on top of that, there's so much back end work that has to go on, like behind those streams, on top of that family time, work, your real life on that, trying to manage all that so quickly. Like, not, you didn't just, slightly grow, but it was an exponential growth for you. So trying to handle that and do all those lives and get all orders together or whatever else, giveaways done, setting things up for the next stream, making sure you have product, all that back end stuff takes so much time that you're like, damn, I don't have time to make the short form content. So
Yeah,
I still feel you on that. It's kind of a bitch. It's a pain in the ass for sure,
it's
in the best way
huge,
possible,
dude.
because we appreciate you guys supporting and everything like that. But it's kind of
Yeah,
us wishing that we had even more time to make more stuff. Because I think for me, like the chat, people that supported me, it's a big motivation to continue to make new content and put out new stuff. I always feel like I fail in that aspect of things, but not necessarily the stream. The streams will always be there. We show love in that regard, though.
yeah, man. The work is like, I mean, you hear people say it all the time, and for the most part, it's true.
Hmm.
There's a little bit of luck, involved. There's a little bit of, the right time involved. Connections have become more important than ever,
Yeah.
honestly. Like, you need to kind of be connected. And not that that's a hard thing to do, not that you need to know somebody to become connected. You can really just insert yourself into anything you want. Like if you wanted to insert yourself into this hobby as any person, you literally just do it. Like you're in the live streams,
Yeah.
you're chatting, you're being interactive, but out outside of those like weird little factors, it's just work, man. It's pure work. And at the end of the day, regardless how many people you have helping you,
Hmm.
there's only one you.
Yeah.
There's only one Jay, there's only one Dak. So it's so much work, man. I would say last year from like May to probably December on just the channel, like back end stuff, I was probably doing like 50 to 80-hour weeks just on the channel.
Oh
And
man.
it was crazy. And at the time I was like I my job like that I got paid for was a consultant. So I got paid by the hour. Like I got paid by the work
Hmm.
that I did.
Hmm.
So like I had to choose, all the time between, do I get paid or do I put more work into this channel?
Right.
And it's really, really hard to like prioritize.
No.
And I
Yeah.
don't want to say it like a negative thing, but it's super difficult to prioritize the work that needs to be done to run a channel like this
Right.
versus all the other stuff, man. It's a balance, that's for sure.
And
And I
that
definitely haven't figured it out yet.
I was about to say, and that balance is still like impossible. And it always eludes me. And like, all right,
Yeah.
how do I keep these things perfectly balanced? But there's like some weeks where it just leans one way, other weeks where it leans the other way. One week that your significant other's like, are you gonna like spend some time with the family this week? I'm like, yes, I promise, I promise.
Speaking of which, yeah,
Nah,
yeah, dude, it's fun, and I don't know that I would give it up
right.
necessarily, especially like getting to the point where I'm at now. But damn, it's tough, man. It is tough.
Did you set yourself like a goal? Like, okay, if I'm gonna, stop putting this much effort into the channel, if I don't see, some sort of, you know, increase, whether it be subs, viewership, if you just don't see something coming out of it? Did you set a goal like that?
I don't know that we had like a hard line goal. Um, I literally walked into like streaming with like hopefully in a year from now I'll be at like 1,000 subs maybe. So like I feel like after the first months of like actually succeeding more than we ever expected to, the idea of a goal beyond that seemed absurd because we had already kind of exceeded our own expectations. So I don't want to say that I had a goal, but
Mm-hmm.
there's definitely I reached a moment where it was like I was able to like analyze 8 months of time or something like that, 8 months of effort.
Yeah.
And, like I was saying, 40 to 80 hour weeks on just that alone, not including everything else. I was like, is this worth it? Am I, is, the input worth the output that I'm getting?
Mm-hmm.
Because, I could and have, gotten, a similar output with not, I don't want to say less effort, but just less time.
Mm-hmm.
And I did have to balance that. I did have to make that choice. I'm back full time working now,
Yeah.
and I've been back for like a month or two. But it was a priority that I needed to change that in my life. I did. Uh, so it's tough because I can't do the 40 to 80 hours a week anymore, and I do feel I don't want to say I feel bad. I do feel a little bit guilty to the members of the community that want to see us grow and kind
Yeah.
of got addicted to that growth, that we're not seeing that growth anymore.
Right.
And it's 100% because I'm not putting in the effort that I was before. But I don't want to say that like we're failing or that we're dying or anything like that. It's just a
Yeah.
different phase of like what we're doing. So I did have to dial it back. The 40 to 80 hours weren't sustainable. I do have people who help me, but nobody who's physically in the same location other than my wife. Huge
Right.
shout out to her. We literally spend we got it down to like 5 hours a week now, but
Mm.
we used to spend like 10 hours a week just on fulfillment and shipping. So it was like
Oh,
it
it's the
was
best and the worst at the same time.
it really is. We got it down to a vibe. We listen to music, we listen to a podcast.
Right.
We're starting to figure out the ins and outs of like how to print labels faster. We got a label printer, how to print in bulk and stuff like that. So like we're figuring out little things that like make it faster. But I mean, at the end of the day, you can't do this stuff. You can't do it without putting the work in. So it's
Right.
just finding that balance of how much work. And I do feel like I let off the gas too much.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just now starting to kind of like ramp that up, but we're trying to buy a house, we're doing other, forms of like investing and stuff like that. So I think it's just one of those things. It's just as long as it's something that I enjoy and like the hours of effort that I'm putting in don't make me stressed or impact my life in a negative way, I'm just going to keep going. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like we're just going to keep going. I don't know if you feel the same way, like if that pressure has ever amounted to like either a critical turning point for you or anything like that.
Yeah, I think for me, I feel like a pressure from myself to, I think I kind of touched on it a little bit, a pressure that I put on myself in order to, have the community that we've grown, continue to see us grow. I think I want to grow more for like them more than I do for myself at this point, because, they have been here, supporting the channel, and I want them to, feel like they are part of something that's, like big, that can be big, and, will continue to grow. So I think I have that kind of mindset. I don't know if that kind of makes sense or not, but more of the pressure, and it's not you guys putting the pressure on me by any means. It's myself putting the pressure on me, but more so because I want to grow for you guys more so than I do for myself at this point, which is good because I see that as a good thing. Because although I still want to grow myself, you guys inspire. This sounds cheesy as hell. I'm sorry. You guys inspire. You guys inspire.
Get in those like feedback loops. Are like, what the fuck am I saying?
Like,
But it's true.
this sounds
It's
stupid.
true.
No, but you guys really do like inspire me to want to continue to grow and like innovate and try something new. So it's great. It's a blessing from you guys to always be here and support. It just makes me want to push harder and to make this happen and keep growing.
I Go ahead.
Go. No, you good, man.
No, no. I feel like we owe it to the chat
Yeah.
to say what's up and see what's going on.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
go for it.
Hey, Gonzo, what's happening, man? Dizzy, you too, baby. Hey, he's throwing some love to Dizzy Hippie in the building. Brett in here. Hope everyone's having a good night. Just lurking and listening in. Appreciate you, Brett. Thank you so much for being in here. Matt Champ, of course. Worm Gang, Scatter Minds. I know I've been saying hi to some of you guys coming in. Ray, what's going on? Cuz Clampy. Washington Fox Bodies, 5 hours of mailing, 4 hours for Mo and Washington bulks in Washington. Washington got a lot of bulk. He's gotten a lot of bulk from me.
He does.
Stephen Clegg said, I want enough DNA on the envelope to make a clone. Oh, you guys talking about mailing? Kate V throwing in the Worm Gang. Poké CJ dropped a like. Appreciate you, Poké CJ. Thank you so much. G3 Holiday throwing in the Worm Gang for sure. Poké Dak said, you guys are the best. Yeah, you guys are the best. And I think you guys are big motivations for, myself. I know for Dak as well to, continue to do what we do at a high level. I want to say at a high level this time, although we might not be, the biggest pokey tubers like out there, like damned if I'm wrong, we're putting in that work trying to make sure that we are worth your guys' time. Above all, the time aspect of things is like the most important part.
Yeah, dude, the earnest is on us to time is so valuable. And it's easy to see names in a list in a chat and not necessarily associated with a person, but every single person in the chat has shit going on in their life.
Yeah.
And the fact that they take any amount of time out of their day to spend it listening to us talk about either ourselves or about Pokemon cards, like opening up Pokemon cards, like it's absolutely mind-boggling to me. But it just blows my mind every single time that people take the time out of their day,
right,
to listen to us talk.
Smack Daddy, what's happening, man? Hey, I want to ask you, what was Hannah's reaction to you wanting to do something like this? What was she like? What do you mean you're gonna open up Pokemon cards for people? Like, what was that reaction?
No, she's been, I say Law has been, the number one supporter. She's obviously the number one supporter. She literally, like, she's right here. We share an office. She edits on the side as well. So she has to deal with me like screaming all the time at like the top of my lungs when we pull something crazy. But no, when that first conversation happened, so I had already been kind of in the hobby for a while. And she's always kind of said that I would be a good entertainer, which I never believed. So I feel like in a lot of ways it was kind of like her who was like, you might as well record this, like just record it, like what do you have to lose? Like I feel like this could be something that you could be good at. So no, man, it was never like, I never got a sideways look. She was never like embarrassed to go to Walmart at 6 o'clock in the morning, on restock days, and like cover her face. She was never like that at all, man. She's been like support, like all support, 100% from second one.
That's awesome.
I don't know how I got so lucky. I wouldn't want to say she could care less about Pokemon. She's got like, she likes Snorlax and she likes flower cards. I don't know. She likes Gengar.
Gengar's a good one.
She's got Pokemon that she likes. She likes the new Bulbasaur card. Which is also my favorite card in 151.
Oh yeah,
I love that card, dude. It's so good. I love Bulbasaur.
Dude, that 151 is crazy. In a good way.
It is so good. And we could talk about that later. But yeah, no, dude, she's been amazing. I don't know if you had like kind of like the sideways looks, and I'm sure like most people do, but I hit the freaking jackpot, dude. I don't know how. She's been amazing. Seriously.
That's awesome, man. I mean, for me, it wasn't necessarily a sideways look. It was more so like, all right, you can do this, but if it interferes like overly with personal stuff or other things like that, like it's going to be a problem. If it becomes a problem, then I don't want to see, like, we need to have that other secondary conversation and decide where to go from there. It was funny though, because we had the growth over the course of about a year on the channel. We got up to like 1,500-1,600 subs, right? And then the rev rate happened, and she was right there next to me. She was in the house at the time. I was like, look, people like me.
That's such a good moment, dude. It's such a good moment.
It was like the mic drop.
Told you. Let's go.
I love her though. For you guys, my wife's name is Jennifer. She has been beyond supportive, even though it's not necessarily her niche, like that she likes and is all about. She has been nothing but super supportive. Even on like that initial hesitation, she's like turned around and like, wow, like keep doing you. And I have to thank her so much for taking care of our son, when I'm doing these live streams, and just helping me out so much. So yeah, nothing but awesome things from her. So I appreciate her completely and sincerely. Ian with Ian in here. People do really like you, Ian. Appreciate you, man. Dak, we do have some questions in here, so we'll start to rattle some of those off. Bull Out and Cards in here said, where do you both see yourselves in 5 years? Life, YouTube, etc. 5 years.
People think that far ahead?
Oh man, 5-year plan. 5-year plan. I guess I'll answer first. I'll give you a second day. That's like, yeah, go first.
I appreciate that. Yeah.
I mean, life wise, I'm not. If I want to be as cheesy as possible, life wise, I would love to make content full time. I think that would be a lot of fun for myself. But in order to do that, I need to show like everyone that we can do the long form content, we can do the short form content, and keep up with the stream. So I think if I'm able to do that within the next couple months, it'll definitely give me the push to prove to myself that I would be able to do it. 5 years on YouTube, yeah, I think I would like content creation to any extent to be the main focus of work in my life. I think I've said that before too. How about for you, Dak?
It's kind of hard. I feel like I don't know if I would call like my current situation a success. I feel like my life, like I love my life, I love what I do, but I feel like a lot of the reason why I've got here is kind of thinking in the short term and like being able to like make changes, adapt, move, take the risky decisions while I can.
Yeah.
So I literally like thinking 5 years ahead, like blows my mind. Like 3 months ago, I didn't know if I was going to be renting in the place I'm renting or if we're going to be buying a house, if we're moving to Florida. I have no idea. But we are buying a house, but I would say in 5 years time, like the perfect version of me in my head and me and Hannah and our family is I want to be able to step away from my full-time job if I wanted to.
Gotcha.
And whether that's through YouTube, whether that's through other forms of either passive income, some other version of that. It'd be nice to kind of go back. I really enjoyed working as a consultant because I kind of dictated my time. The hard part is like when you're not working, you don't get paid.
Right.
But no, man, as far as the channel goes, I don't know if it's a unique position to have or not, but I don't have long-term goals.
Okay.
It's very much a short-term thing. Like, what's the new thing? How can we adapt to this? Maybe I should have long-term goals. I don't know.
Trust me. I'm speaking as if I have it all laid out, but I don't. That's why it's very vague. I would like to make content,
right.
In my 5 years. It's very vague because I am a spur of the moment person too, which, my wife doesn't necessarily enjoy about me. She needs a plan. So I can completely identify with what you're saying.
Yeah, and I don't know. It's like I feel like we don't do anything too risky, Like we're not in. I don't want to say insane, but at the same time, like I don't know. I've never really thought too far into the future. I also don't take myself too seriously. I don't know if that's like a bad thing or a good thing.
Not in content.
You know, you know, right. But you know, 10,000 subscribers is a big number.
Yeah.
But you know, it's not like I have like, man, if I'm not at 50,000 subscribers in 5 years, like I'm gonna quit.
Right.
I don't have like the go no go like dream in my head.
There's no
I just
cutoff, you know, to it.
No, it's just, you know, in the moment, what makes the most sense to do. I don't want to set myself up for failure necessarily, but just kind of live in life. You know, when an opportunity presents itself, if it feels right to take it, just take it. You know what I mean? Just go for it. Do it.
Yeah, and like I mean, within this realm of content or even Pokemon, with Pokemon, the market can fluctuates, very quickly. Same thing with content. Things that were getting pushed out today can completely change the next day depending on how like YouTube wants to organize things. So you gotta be ready to adapt. Within this realm, if you're in there, if you can't adapt to it, you are definitely gonna fade and fizzle out at some point. So it's a good thing to be able to do. It's a good thing to be able to do. Just go with it and adapt, as you said. Yo, G3 Holiday said, what set did you start collecting? We kind of touched on that a little bit, right? What's your favorite set?
Such a hard question, dude. I knew this question was coming. I knew
Steam,
it was coming.
Steam Siege, huh? It's Steam Siege, huh?
It's definitely Steam Siege. No. So I have different categories of favorites. I would say that the most nostalgic for me is Neo Genesis.
Got you.
When Neo Genesis came out, I was like 7. So what is that, like second grade, third grade?
Right.
So like that was when I was like old enough to like be able to like comprehend like what was going on, like come up with makeshift ways to actually play it. So love Neo Genesis as a set. Like that's the set that I probably collected more than anything else.
Okay.
But I have a special place in my heart for Team Rocket Returns.
Nice.
And it's a set that I literally never collected. Never collected it. But I love the set, man. I love the set. Love the artwork. I love the era. The Rocket Snorlax EX.
Mm-hmm.
The callback to the Gym Heroes Rocket Snorlax.
Yeah.
Is just so good, dude. Like the whole set is so good.
It's just top tier.
It really is top tier. And it's really hard to think about the sets not in relationship or without a relationship to like when they came out. Like if we were to look at them objectively, like across like the board, and we were to just, look at the set lists and not have like, oh, you can't buy these anymore, or, that's $1,000 card. And we were to look at the cards. Dude, modern cards are insane. Modern cards are absurd.
As far as like the artwork is concerned, right? Like that.
We're in such a good era of Pokemon right now. Like if the cards that were coming out right now, like if we can put ourselves 20, 30 years in the future from now, when, the kids who are growing up with their dads, and their dads grew up with Pokemon and they're getting into this age, this generation of Pokemon, and they're nostalgic about this era 30 years from now.
Right.
I'm kind of jealous of them because they get to be nostalgic of like the most artistic era of Pokemon. Like it's such a good era.
It's like one of those things. Because a lot of people are down on the new era, Scarlet and Violet coming up, but that just goes with the start of every era. They have their down trending sets. Hey Vault, what's happening? Vault saying Rebel Clash.
Vault.
Exactly.
Yo, let's go.
Appreciate you coming through, man. Like Rebel Clash and Sword and Shield base were nothing to look at. Let's be honest. There were some nice cards. Don't sleep on the Rainbow Snorlax. But I'm saying as an entire set, it doesn't compare to later on sets with Sword and Shield.
Right.
But if you're looking at it, like you said, objectively and just looking at it purely at the artworks, like with Scarlet and Violet, they have some amazing artworks from common cards, uncommon cards, rares, and us, because we open up so many packs, we can kind of get numb to it. It's impossible to deny. We can get numb to it, and we just kind of overlook because we're opening the set so much. But once you like take a second and you like look at it, you're like, this is a sick ass card.
Amazing.
Like the Aerodactyl from 151, the regular holo, bro.
Amazing.
I love that
Absolutely
Aerodactyl so much, man. I love that Aerodactyl.
So good.
But yeah,
It's
it's
so good, dude.
there's so many awesome sets. So you were saying Neo Gen and Rocket Returns, then, right?
Neogen and Rocket Returns. Like if push comes to shove, those are my top two. Expedition base set is probably number three for me. And like there was a time where I thought that that was my favorite set, but it's got to be Rocket Returns, man.
Rocket
Like
Returns.
if you're telling me like there's my favorite set, like if I had to pick one set to open, like I only had one pack, I'm picking Rocket Returns.
Rocket Returns, man. And you know the EX. Looking back on it, like I wasn't collecting during EX at all. So, but being able to see the artworks and pick up, I've been on a stint of picking up some reverses from the stamp reverses from the EX era right now too. And I'm like, man, I really wish I was into Pokemon during this.
Yep.
Just based off these artworks, like there's so many nice ones. I picked up this Delta Species Rayquaza the other day. Not Delta Species. It was Delta Species, but from Holland Phantoms, and it was the reverse. It just looks amazing. So I just been on a stint of picking up a lot of different cards from EX era, and I'm just happy that Rayquaza and Houndoom were both out during that time. It was in the later on generation. Right. And I think you guys know that mine is Neo Revelation and Rocket, the first generation of Rocket right there. They were my two favorite sets. Hey, do you have any modern sets? What's your favorite modern set?
Dude, I loved V-Star Universe. Give me V-Star Universe. Like, I wish. So, I was talking about this earlier, and our Japanese like product supplier kind of brought up like the best point that I've heard on how to fix this modern Japanese product issue, and that is to make the set releases the same day. We've had staggered set releases since 1996.
Right.
Like Japan gets their product first. And now that we have more people in the United States who are into Pokemon ever, like we need to change that. Like the Japanese sets and the English sets should release at the same time. So the people in Japan can get their cards and they don't have to worry about the hordes of people who have not necessarily just FOMO. I don't want to use FOMO.
Yeah.
Because I'm a part of it too. You want to ride the wave of excitement. You know what I mean? Like you want to be a part of that wave. That's kind of, I don't want to say the whole point of the hobby, but it's one of my favorite parts of the hobby is
when you get a brand new set and you're just opening it for the first time, man. It's
dude. And like it's not the same if even like weeks make a difference. You know what I mean? Like if it's like 2-week difference between opening up the set and you've already seen all these other people open it up, it just doesn't have the same feeling.
Yeah.
So like having like a 3 to 4 month difference between the set releases is just, it's driving the price of Japanese product sky high. And it's making the English TCG like this very strange, at least from a collector's perspective, it's this very strange world where it's fully unpredictable. You have absolutely absurdly low single prices, but which is a good thing. Right. Low singles is a good thing, but right now we cannot pretend that the Japanese market is sustainable. Like we just can't.
It's on the verge. It keeps getting crazier and crazier every set comes out. With 151 coming out, we all saw this coming. With 151 as it was trending. Before that, from V-Star Universe to freaking Clay Burst and Snow Hazard. Those two sets went ridiculous. They came out the gates at a higher price point than the 151, and that the only reason is because there's 30 packs, I'm sure, versus the 20 packs in 151. It was ridiculous. I was like, how the hell? Like, what is happening here?
It's the waifu.
It's the waifu hunt, man. Y'all need to chill with the waifus, guys. Hey, yeah. Ever since White Schwartz came out too, they've been making it more coveted, for sure.
Yeah.
Mad Champ said 151 goes so hard. I love this. Hey, Vault, you're not wrong, man. And Chris,
it is amazing.
Chris Pie TCG was also saying they are getting very close deck with Obsidian Flame. We all talked about that at Card Party a bit. They are trying to make it happen slowly. He's referring to trying to get the sets to release at the same time or a closer date together. Yeah, which is definitely something I noticed a while back too, when Obsidian Flame was announced, and there was more leaks on the English version side of things before the actual Japanese side of things, which it was interesting, and I think hopefully that kind of helps.
I don't think. I mean, I could be wrong. This is just my gut feeling. I think Obsidian Flames is this weird outlier stepchild of set. Like I really do.
Like,
It's one Japanese set that makes up the same English set that's not
hmm
a special set.
hmm
When's the last time we saw that?
it's true. It's
I
true.
don't think we've seen that since before Sun and Moon. Um, I think that was like XY. And I feel like it was either because 151 was pushed out or 151 was pulled up. Like it feels like Obsidian Flames is just there to kind of fill the gap between Scarlet and Violet 2 and
You
151. It
won.
doesn't feel like a real situation to me. I could be wrong. It's just my gut feeling. We'll see if like we kind of recover back to the norm
Yeah.
after this, or if they do get closer. But man, if they get, even if it's just a couple of weeks, but like if they can make those releases the same day, people will, in the United States and in Europe, they're going to open up the English TCG, and in Japan, they're going to open up, the Japanese TCG. I feel like we're already kind of moving closer to that because we're standardizing to the silver border. We're standardizing like our secret rares, the way we classify secret rares. It's getting more cohesive instead of like feeling like two entirely separate TCGs.
Right. And I mean, I kind of wish they didn't. I didn't know how much I enjoyed the set symbols until they got rid of them. But it's kind it's a small. I'm nitpicking. And I
Yeah.
know there was going to be a little bit of pushback whether or not we said we want the silver borders. There was definitely going to be pushback on getting rid of the yellow. But it will all happen with time. You can't just expect everybody to be susceptible, not susceptible to it, but take it in with open arms right away. You gotta take a minute. You gotta take a minute. Dub, appreciate you coming
I'm
through.
here for it.
Yeah, me too. Me too. I'm with it. I'll roll with the punches.
Right, don't have a choice.
Yeah, right. We don't.
I'm either here
Or
for it or I'm not here for
yeah,
it.
and Pokemon hasn't done anything terrible for me to be like, all right, I can't support this company anymore. So I'm still here for it. Vault said I'm out, boys. Just wanted to stop by to support. Hey, appreciate you, Vault. Thank you so much for stopping in here. Stephen Collect said later. FOMO said Raw looks nicer. Facts. Facts. Lady Regade, same Washington. What did Washington say? I missed it. Low key, totally missed the set symbol, said Washington. Yeah, man. And there's stuff like that will, turn people off slightly, but I think in the long term, it'll be a good thing for Pokemon to try to get everything on one track and look similar across the board. Yo, let me go on to another question right here. Gonzo says, how do we get you two to grow a mullet? From Gonzo. He's going to grow it, right?
There's an inside story for that one.
Talk
Were you
to me
there for
about it.
that?
I was there for that. He actually wants me to make a short outlining when you came over there to raid him, and then when DPM just recently raided him and got him past that 600 mark. So he's going to grow the mullet.
It was perfect. Yeah. I was in the chat and we were talking about like somehow like rocking the Joe Dirt came up, and it was totally unprompted. He was basically just like, I'll grow a mullet if we hit 600 subs before the end of June. And I was like, bet, let's see that mullet. Let's see that Joe Dirt.
Oh,
And then,
shit.
like you said, just a few days later, bang, hits the 600. It was hilarious.
That is awesome, man. Yeah, I can't wait to see it, Gonzo. I'm sure your wife is a happy lady right now. Washington Fox Buddy said, with the recent events with Japanese prices going, let me rephrase that. With the recent events with Japanese prices going and fraud, what are each of your thoughts on stopping the use of Japanese cards on your channel, even though the U.S. demand is there for the content? Said Washington Fox Buddies. Have you thought about it?
Yeah, I have. In my mind, like I totally understand the side of like this is bad, only bad things can come from it.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of like our jobs as creators, at least in this space, to not prop up bad habits.
Right.
I mean, we've seen it before. It kind of led to like the scalping issues that we saw in like 2020 and 2021. That I think we're finally past the scalping. And I think that that's honestly just Pokemon addressing the supply issue. I think we kind of already talked about the real issue behind this, and it's the fact that the U.S. buyers are impatient. And I don't necessarily think that they're wrong for being impatient. And that's supply and demand.
Yeah.
Until the U.S. market and the Japanese market can be isolated, I don't know that there's really a choice. And I don't know. I haven't had any issues with myself specifically with, fraudulent product. I'm not saying that I'm impervious to it,
Yeah.
but I have cultivated very, very trustworthy suppliers, and it's to the point, and I take on that full responsibility too. You know what I mean? If somebody buys a $150 to $200 booster box and I open it up and it's fake, they're going to get a full refund.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's no, the risk is all on my end. The risk isn't on the person who's buying its end. So if there is demand, if there's somebody who's willing to pay $200 for a booster box whose MSRP is 40, that's just how it works. That's just the world. That's just economics. And I can either choose to be a part of that, or I can kind of try to, fight the system in a sense. As an individual person, I don't think we have much power over the situation that we have.
Yeah.
Other than, trying to, make the opinion known that we, as people who are kind of the voices for the hobbyists, that we want this solved. Like, this is a problem. And, Pokemon heard us when we said scalping is a problem.
Yeah.
Pokemon heard us. To their credit, they addressed it for the most part. You still see it, but I mean, look at the Zard UPC. Look at the difference between the Zard UPC and the Celebrations UPC.
And it was a good thing.
They were a year apart.
It's a good thing. It's a good thing too, because I was telling people, like, don't worry, there is going to be a lot of allocations for this, but people are still, they're coming off of that I'm not going to be able to get it mentality. That's not going to happen, so let me buy it, $50 above MSRP to pre-order it, get ready for it. A bunch of the stores were out here trying to bundle everything together, trying to push it out by the end of it. But yeah, Pokemon has definitely ramped up the printing, the production in order to, alleviate any FOMO that will be out there. But like you said, because one set comes out in Japanese months before the English version of it, regardless, that's going to create the FOMO now. And that's what we're seeing it now versus missing out on the product. It's, who's going to get the product first.
And we talked about it earlier, but there's a big difference between missing out or having that FOMO, but riding the wave of the excitement. And right. I think that a lot of people use that word FOMO, like FOMO's ruining this hobby.
Yeah.
Like I think that's too much of a generalization.
Gotcha.
Honestly, I mean, I love being excited about a set. Like, if you're not excited about a new set coming out, maybe stick to vintage or something like that, which a lot of people do. I mean, a lot of people could care less about the new sets. So we'll see.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that just stick with the vintage. Yeah, I know that for sure. I mean, on my end, what I kind of did, because, I don't necessarily have a great, supplier Japanese product as far as pricing goes. I can get it off a pre-order, and I can get it and, try to, it'll be there literally the day after. We'll stream it the day after it comes out in Japan, but with Clayburst and Snow Hazard, I posed the question to the community, like my community tab with my members, and I said, look, this is the price that I would be able to get it. If you guys are interested, please let me know. I will post it up for you guys specifically. If you guys aren't interested, obviously no problem at all. So if the demand is there, I can supply that, but if it's just not there and it's not worth it, then I won't. So, I don't mind missing out on the set for the channel if, people just don't want it, and aren't willing to pay those prices. That's perfectly fine. But like you said, it's tough. It's tough. Go ahead.
Yeah. There's a difference between generating false demand, which is rare. It's rarer in the community than people think it is. We're not out here hyping up a set to make sales.
Yeah.
At least I'm not.
Yeah.
Like, if I'm excited about a set, it's because I'm authentically excited about a set.
I was trying not to be out there. I was trying not to be so hyped about 151, but I'm like, okay, it's an amazing set. Sorry. Go ahead.
Dude,
go ahead.
I'm with you. Like when Clayburst came out, we passed on the first wave of release because it was like 190 a box for Clayburst, and it was like 140 a box for Snow Hazard.
Yeah.
And I looked at the set, I'm like, it's not a bad set. The artwork's really nice, but why the fuck is this thing $200? Like,
Exactly.
it makes no sense. I was like, I'm not paying $200. I'll come back when, I can buy it for 130 and I can sell it for 130.
Yeah.
And that happens a lot. I don't know, it's me. I don't know if everybody does this, but like, if the set is really high, I will buy it and sell it at cost just to have the set.
Yeah, the higher the price point goes up, the smaller the margin, or if any margin there is for you, because you're not, all right, I'm not going to freaking go out of my mind with this set that's already expensive and people can't get.
Yeah, we did that with 151. I mean, we bought boxes and, we sold our first 20 boxes at 150 a box.
Yeah.
I made $0 a box.
Yeah.
I just wanted to open up the set as soon as possible. I wanted people to have the set as soon as possible. That was the priority. It's at least for me. I mean, I cannot speak for everybody. It's definitely not the case for everybody. Making money is not the priority. For me, like streaming or sales or anything like that, it's not a priority. It's just growth. That's the priority for me, to be honest.
And it's nice to have that as a priority. You just like when you come on, there's no stress behind anything. You're just alleviated to have fun with the chat. You guys all in here, hanging out, be part of it. That's kind of like why I wanted to start the podcast too, because, I wanted to, bring another form of content, have fun, be able to have like my peers, like you, anybody else that comes on the podcast, and learn more about you guys, let everybody see that the community literally is connected. As far as streamers go, like, we all mess with each other. We may not be able to talk to each other every single day, but damn, like, everybody's cool. Everybody's cool with each other.
Facts.
Sleeping Storm, like I said, Dak, can you dig it? Can you dig? Sleepy out here. Just messing around. Joseph Matthew Perez said, have you guys watched Ash's last episode? How did you feel about the era ending? Did you watch it?
I didn't. So I'm not I lose so many followers for this, I swear. But I'm not a weeb or whatever people call it. Like, I don't watch too much anime. Like, I loved the original anime.
Yeah. But
like, outside of the first 100 episodes, I haven't watched an episode of Pokemon. I'm not gonna lie. So unfortunately, I didn't watch it. It is kind of sad, but at the same time, the fact that the dude made it 20 years, 25 years is pretty impressive. So it's
a long running show, man.
Do you watch it? Do you watch the anime?
I watched it this last Journeys. I was watching it with my son, and I watched it, and high key, it got me a little bit. It got me emotional a little bit. I was like, man, 20, 26, 27 odd years at this point. Like, it's like a long ass time. So it kind of got me a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. I did see
the clip where they had the same guy who sang the original song, just changed the words to like this is over, kind of I don't remember the words exactly, but basically it was like, this is done. He achieved his his goal or whatever. That was, I could see how that could tug at some heartstrings for sure.
Washington said, with the Rev roadmap laid out for content creators, why don't more follow the mold and put their own twist on their path of progression? So Washington.
Yeah, it's tough to answer. I definitely can. Go ahead.
I think it's just an easier said than done type of thing. Rev came in at a, not to take anything away from him, because he's been amazing to me and the entire community, I would say.
Yep.
He came in at the perfect time. Sometimes timing is everything. He came in at the perfect time. He was in the hobby early enough to, be able to create this collection and have this product in order to support him going on this, big venture of going full time with YouTube. A lot of people don't have that, and they don't start YouTube going in full time. They don't start it. It's just not a roadmap that a lot of people have or have the access to be able to do. But
he was also, a lot of people don't know this about Rev, but Rev had one of, I would probably say top 3 to top 5 eBay stores for Pokemon specifically, long before he was a streamer.
He was active. He was active in IG, on eBay for quite a bit before he decided to go on this side of YouTube.
No, he's a legitimate godfather of the hobby. Like a lot of people think like, oh, Rev popped up in 2020 and he
Yeah.
kind of came out of nowhere. Like you said, and we talked about this earlier, timing is so important with
Hmm.
YouTube. There's a little bit of luck and it's a lot of hard work. Like you
Yes.
don't get there by accident. But
Yeah.
if you're in the right place at the right time, like good things can happen.
Absolutely.
But no, knowing that you're in the right place at the right time, that's different. And you know what I mean? I don't think Rev expected his channel to turn out to what it turned out to. I mean, maybe he did. Maybe he has like really big eager goals,
Yeah.
but I don't think he expected it to turn into what it turned into. But yeah, I mean, we're talking like when Logan Paul did his box break.
Hmm.
I could be wrong about this, but I want to say Rev had like 10 to 20,000 subscribers. And he was basically the only guy doing live vintage rip and ships that I remember,
Right.
other than like Z&G Emporium and maybe a couple others that you know just did hand cam, didn't have face cam. Like Rev made it from like a hobby thing. He turned it into a super fun style of entertainment.
Right. No,
Um,
and I mean,
Rev
he
has a
was.
5-year plan, Gonzo.
I saw that right now too.
Rev had a 5-year plan.
Oh, throwing shade. No
He
wonder we didn't blow
he
up.
he turned it into a really really fun style of entertainment. And I think what this hobby needs now is this hobby needs, I don't know if it needs, I don't want to say needs, but I think we need somebody to break the mold again. So Rev was the one who broke the mold originally.
Right.
And it's easy to say just follow in his footsteps, just do what he did. But as being, the 300th or 300,000th person who's trying to do that, it's very difficult. And I'm not saying that we're all trying to be Rev. I think everybody's out there trying to be themselves.
Hmm.
And it's just what Rev did was so good. Like you're going to emulate people who do what you do, who do it better.
Yeah.
And if you don't, like, what are you doing? You know what I mean? Like if somebody's out there doing it better than you, try to, learn as much from them as possible. But I think we need something new. And I don't know what that new thing is. Like I've been
Right.
struggling with that. And, even with recorded content, I don't want to say long form content, like long form recorded content is dead
Hmm.
by any means, but I struggle with like, I'm not going to record me opening up a booster box because, every other person in the community is going to record them opening up the newest booster box.
Yeah.
And it's going to kind of be the same thing. So I don't know. That's why I do live streams, is because live streams are on the fly. They're authentic. They're real. They're not super edited. And then I do short form content.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm missing that middle content, and I don't know what that is. There's something out there that's new, that's different, that needs to be found out.
That's the most difficult one, man, because you're trying to see how you can project yourself in a way that's in the long form content. The storytelling aspect of things has, I think, been pretty successful with like a lot of different channels, but you're like, all right, how do I involve that with Pokemon and gear this to like the audience that I already have, like the live stream audience, and then on top of that, grab more audience from that? It's like one of those questions. If I had the answer to it, we'd be running it.
Right.
We'd be doing it 100%.
Right.
But yeah, man, because you can get burnt out just thinking about it. Like, how do I innovate? How do I do something different? It's hard. It's hard. It's not. I wish it was easy. I really do. But then,
Yep.
if it was easy, everybody would be at 2 million subscribers, right?
Exactly.
No, but yeah, I mean, Rev definitely did lay out kind of an outline. Like, okay, we can follow this, but how do we make it different? How do we make it our own? How do we make it unique? And I mean, that's one thing that's trying to figure that out is something that eludes me still, man.
Same.
You need more women. Shake it up a bit, said Mythical K. I mean,
I was just about to talk about Chloe, because Chloe, I feel like, I don't know if she's breaking the mold, but she really is turning her vlogs into Pokemon with a story.
Yeah.
That I was literally just about to say, like, that might be the next breakthrough. And if she figures it out, which I think she has the best opportunity to, how to tell a story with Pokemon. And she does enough vlogs, she does enough trips and stuff like that, where she really could do it. But I think she, from the people I've been watching, I think she has the best opportunity to break out next because of that. That's my guess. That's my gut feeling.
Mythical Kate said, "I love Chloe, but why is she the only big one?" Said Mythical Kate. As far as like women in the hobby, I don't know. Why is that? I mean, I saw
I mean,
I saw Ghastly
I'm
Grabs in here too. I know she is like starting off her content creating journey on YouTube too. Um, man,
I mean, just in general, my YouTube statistics are like 99.5% men.
yeah,
Um,
Super Duper
I
Danny Ian
mean,
said, yeah, obviously, like Super Duper Danny's been in the hobby for a long time. Wait, what was your statistics
it's like
for?
99% men, like
Yeah,
from the age of 24 to like 40. Like getting, I think that's 151, I think kind of is an attempt to make, I don't want to say the artwork more feminine, but just more like general,
hmm
like not necessarily all about being aggressive and like fighters and stuff like that, showing the Pokemon in their natural, in their, their natural non-fighting situations. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like we need more women in the hobby.
hmm
I think that in general, like the amount of women influencers will reflect the amount of women in the hobby in general. But I mean, I can't get my wife to get into any hobby like Pokemon.
I mean,
So
I think the statistics do like kind of speak for themselves. I think in general there are probably more men that are in this hobby off the rip. So when you narrow it down from okay, the amount of men and women in the hobby, all right, there's we'll just throw random statistics. I don't know the statistics, guys. So like say 70% men, 30% women. From that 70%, how many percentage of those men are going to want to make content? 70% of what? Like 20% of 70%. And then
mhm.
of the 30% of women that are in the hobby, even less are going to want to make content on top of that because there's just less of them. But I think, like Chloe, you guys mentioned, I know Chara Queen. Chara Queen has been in the hobby making content for quite a bit. Ian pointed out Crystal Collects. There are women in there, doing it. It's just the same thing. How do they stand out? Just because they're women and we're men, it goes a lot deeper than that as far as content goes. We still
Yeah.
all need to make good content and creative content and different content in order to stand out. And I think everybody's
Well,
still looking for that. Everybody's still trying to figure out what's the next best thing to do in this hobby as
yeah.
far as content goes.
Yeah, Frosted Caribou blew up too. That was like 2020, but she is a freaking incredible editor. She is an amazing editor. I don't know if you watch her content,
Mhm.
but I don't think she really does it anymore. But it's definitely possible. It's just like they have the same roadblocks as we do. You know what I mean? There's no shortcut to getting there. So I'm with you.
Yeah. Let's go from there. We have a couple more questions, Dak, and then we'll switch back over to
Sure.
kind of talking a little bit about you and the hobby. Poké Dak versus JTCG Poké Dak games, said Imposter Tim. I don't even know
That
how that
sounds
would
fun.
run. How would we run
Me
that?
either.
Well,
Uh,
we'll have to write that down
yeah,
and
I do
see.
round one. You do round two.
Washington said, have to ask, how much is free shipping? For you, Washington, the bulk is priceless, man. Don't worry about it.
20
Chris
bucks
Chris by
per order.
TCG said, what's your favorite artwork from each of the Pokemon modern, contemporary, and vintage? Ooh, do you have artworks that stand out in your mind?
Yes, absolutely. The Aerodactyl
Mm,
artwork from Lost Origin, that
mm.
was the best artwork of 2022 for me. Love it. And in this very similar style artwork, the Zapdos from 151, love it. I absolutely love
That
it.
Zapdos is
Um,
amazing.
I also really like Sao, or this is either Sao or So. I don't know how to pronounce the artist's name, but they've been doing like an incredible job with just common cards, like really nice. They did the Eradicate in 151,
Okay.
stunning card. And then, hmm, what's another one that I've been really liking?
Or-
I lose artists' names very
Yeah,
easily.
yeah.
Is that what
No,
the question was? Like, who?
like just as far as artworks go, not necessarily the artist names, but just cards that stand out to you in different sets. From Sword and Shield,
Gotcha.
Sun and Moon. I think for me, the Aerodactyl is one of the best ones. I was hunting that card for a long time personally. The Giratina is another artwork that I love a lot. I mean, out of Evolution, not Evolutions. Was the sets?
Evolving Skies.
Evolving Skies. Why was I thinking Evolutions?
Why did
Evolving
the same
Skies.
shit?
Dude, like what the hell? I like the Glaceon the most. I like the Glaceon out of all the Eevees. I like it better than the Moonbreon. The Moonbreon might be more expensive, but if I'm looking at the artwork, I like the Glaceon.
I like the Leafeon V,
Like the
not even
Leafeon
the
V?
VMAX. The Leafeon V. I love Leafeon, but like the artwork alone, like with it just like sitting there like curled up in the leaves. I like anything that has a lot of nature in it. To be honest
Gotcha.
with you, like any artwork that like incorporates nature. That's why I like the Bulbasaur. Love the Bulbasaur, man. It's so good. I also like pastel colors for whatever reason, like the Ammonite from 151.
Uh-huh.
Dude,
Oh, it looks
I
good, huh?
freaking love that art rare. It's so good, dude. I don't know why.
Yes.
Like seeing it in person, like the contrast, but like very subtle contrast to like anything that has muted
I
like
was about to say
pastel colors
the
on it.
colorization on there, like you feel like you're looking at like a fossil, like how they want you to
Yeah, it's
perceive
so
it.
good.
It works.
It's so good.
It
It's so
works.
good.
Matt Champ said, "Who is your favorite person to have in your chat? Like, who do you see and instantly know it'll be a good stream? Money aside," said Matt Champ.
That's an easy one for me to answer. Number one would be Hannah Marshall, and number two would be Pokemon. So
I'm just gonna put Jen, my wife, out there too. You know, when I see her in there, I'm just like, whoo, look, mama, we made it. If I got my wife watching.
No, dude, to be honest with you, like it's so easy to have a conversation with the people in our community. For there are weird examples where like people just come in and say shit. And I'm like, why would you say that? Like that is just so like you get the trolls, but like the people in the community are so easy to have that conversation with.
Yeah.
I struggle with keeping up with the chat, but I don't worry like, oh man, I hope that this person makes it or else the chat's gonna suck.
Yeah.
We've got so many people that are so fun to talk to.
No, yeah. I look forward to seeing everybody coming through every time. You know, every time I go into the stream before I'm about to start, and there's people already in there, I'm like, oh, you guys make me feel nice and warm and fuzzy on the inside.
I love it. Shout out to Hunter. I don't know if Hunter's watching this or not,
Isn't
but
that T Tiger, his birthday or something like that?
T Tiger too. So T Tiger, Hunter, and Grayson, man, they're notorious for fogging up the general chat in our Discord. But they're such loyal viewers, man. They are absolute goats. I swear. Like within 3 seconds of me hitting the live button, Hunter's usually commenting, and it's wild. So that dude's always ready. Whether I post a half an hour before the stream starts or 6 minutes, he's ready to go.
That was great. Jay Chocolate in here saying, do you think 151 will have a longer shelf life due to the introduction of the Master Ball reverses? It feels like it adds a ton more time for collectors.
I'm curious because I want your opinion on this before I give mine, because
Okay.
I don't know if mine is like the more common opinion or not, but I want to hear yours before.
So I don't necessarily think it'll go that long term. Eventually, when enough boxes get open, I know Japan is saying that they're going to be printing a lot more. So I'm hoping that, you know, the demand isn't. I'm hoping the Master Ball reverses come down in price overall. The fact of the matter is, there's only one per box, and if not enough is printed, then that price is gonna stay up there. And if the price stays up there, the price is only going to appreciate over longer amount of time. So it just depends. It's on Pokemon right now. Are they going to print this set to the ground or not? If they don't, it's definitely going to be nice to keep sealed. If they do, just open it up. It shouldn't be that expensive after, you know, quite a bit of time. Oh.
I think as far as the Master Ball goes, it is so heavily dependent on whether or not we're going to get them in English. But outside of the longevity of the set, I love the idea of the Master Ball reverse because it doesn't change your binder set. It doesn't have to change your binder set. You can have the same aesthetic binder set. And I almost feel like the Master Ball is almost like an entirely separate set. Like it's like a set within a set. That doesn't add rarity. It doesn't change the artwork. It doesn't give you any other variation other than something very small. So the people who care about it care about it, and the people who don't. I know that's a really dumb thing to say,
Yeah.
but like it adds something new. It gives the market something to think about. It makes people have to guess what's going to happen. It's like it seems like such a small thing, but it's twists like that I think that actually keep they keep the hobby interesting.
It changes and it adds a different aspect to it, and
Exactly.
another.
I personally love it. I
You
love
love it? I'm indifferent about it. I don't really care, to be honest. Like, I know there's some people out there that are, going to collect the entire Master Ball set. For me, I'm more of a person that goes after, I'm not a master set person in the first place. So I go after the cards I like for the most part. After that, I'm not really trying to open up that set too much or, pick up some singles. For me, I do have an issue. I will say, I don't like picking up singles unless I absolutely have to. I'd rather open up the pack and get it, which I don't recommend anybody does. But I usually just go after the cards I really enjoy. After that, not too much. I'm not in here trying to find all the Master Balls. But I know there's a ton of people that do, and they find it interesting. And I agree that adding another level of the collectability of the cards is good for collectors overall. Hopefully,
yeah, I mean. If they don't bring those to English,
yeah, there's gonna be an issue if they don't bring this in.
It's gonna go insane.
It's gonna be an issue.
If they're only Japanese, whew, we got PBM, dude.
There he is.
He's gotta be
Mike.
one of the nicest dudes in this community.
He's not that great. He's not that great. I met him. He's not that great,
dude. I swear, he's everywhere, and he's always so nice.
Just because there was an aura around him when I met him in person doesn't mean he's that great, guys.
The Mike. Angels, the clouds parted. He's such a good dude.
No, absolutely he is. Appreciate you coming through, man. Pokemon Collection here. All you guys for hanging out with us. All right, we'll do 2 more questions, Dak, and then we will kind of transition into I kind of want to learn how the relationship with you and Rusty and Marshall kind of developed, because I know Marshall is a mod on his channel too. So let's ask 2 more questions. J Chocolate, all right, that's one we just asked. Mo said, should Pokemon do what Magic the Gathering did with the Lord of the Rings sets, have limited serial number cards like the 1 of 500, etc.? I mean, I'll say no. I'm gonna say no. I've said that multiple times before. It's gonna piss a lot of people off, and I prefer them just not to do it.
I think that the general, like, if you took a poll, I would say that most people who are in the Pokemon hobby do not want Pokemon to turn into sports cards.
Yeah.
And I feel like if you do make that transition, it's a slippery slope. Mm-hmm. We don't have signed cards, we don't have numbered cards. We don't have any sort of like artificial inflator. I don't know what else to call it. It's really what it is. It's an artificial inflator. And those industries are so hyper focused on the secondary market because it's the secondary market that creates the primary market, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
In my opinion. Whereas Pokemon, I don't think Pokemon gives a shit about the secondary market. I could be wrong, but I think they've proven time and time again that they don't.
They don't.
And they really they care about the primary market. They care about the people who are buying it for fun. They care about the players. And, they want the collectors to be interested, but I'm with you, man. I think it's a slippery slope. I think we can talk about it hypothetically and be like, oh, it'd be so cool to own like a 1 out of 10 Charizard or a 1 out of 1 Pikachu or something like that. But I do think that if that does happen, the interest in the hobby in general,
they're going to turn so many people off. It's going to have a negative effect, I feel like. I think it might bring in other people from other collections, like sports cards. They might, show a little interest, but I think the core demographic of Pokemon is going to hate it so much. Hate it so much.
I agree. And that's the crazy part is we could be so wrong. It's so hard to know. It's hard to know, right? Like to actually put yourself in like the perspective of like the average collector. Like I remember, like if I were to go back to myself in 2020, before I had a community, before like when it was just me, I was just buying cards. I could care less about the primary market. You know what I mean? Like I was kind of like just like trying to find the cards that I wanted and like, oh geez, like this card could sell for $100. Like that was kind of enticing. It brought a lot of people in.
Right.
But I do feel like we're right. I feel like the core demographic would not like that, but who knows,
We
man.
don't speak for everybody. We don't speak for everybody.
Along for the ride. Along for the ride, man.
We'll
That's what
see.
else can you do?
Luxury Ball Guy said, hobbies outside of Pokemon.
Um Hard to have hobbies
You don't,
when you're on the grind,
you
bro.
don't have
No,
time.
legit. Um, I feel like I used to like, I used to be really into golf. I used to edit for golf, but I haven't golfed in a really, really long time. I used to be into cars.
Mm.
Like I used to be really into cars, but had to sell all my cars to move to Texas. And I haven't had like a fun car in a while. Trying to be healthier, trying to like be more into fitness and working out and getting healthy. So that's been a big one for me. And then what's kind of just come up around the curve recently, and like that's one of the reasons why we're buying a house, is we're trying to navigate this very strange real estate market, but also at the same time like toe dip and try to like invest and set ourselves up. Our 5-year plan. We're trying to get a
There you
5-year
go.
plan.
He was lying, guys. He was leading you guys in the wrong direction. He has a 5-year plan already.
No, yeah, so it's I don't know, man. I used to play a lot of Rocket League. I don't play as much as I do. If anybody out there in the chat actually plays Rocket League, hit me up.
Someone put Rocket
That's
League right now. Jay Chocolate did.
he I talk about it enough. But it's another one of those hobbies where like nobody else that I know gives a shit about it. So it's hard to it's hard to talk about because most people don't. How about you, man?
For
I actually
me,
have no idea what you do.
For me, basketball was like my biggest hobby. Even that for me, putting all my extra time into like the channel, that's kind of gone out the window. The first time I played basketball was, I think I took about a year and a couple months off, and I played maybe a month ago. I was sore for the rest of the week when I played. I was like, oh my gosh, like this is, oh, my body is
Yeah.
not ready for this anymore. So
Yeah,
basketball
dude.
and working out, that was like my biggest, hobby. That took up literally the time I put into YouTube was the time that took up prior to that. So besides that, those were like my biggest things. Definitely like watching shows. I am like a nerd when it comes to shows about like ghosts or UFOs or aliens and stuff like that. I don't know
Oh,
why,
hell yeah, dude.
but I love that. And me and Clampy will talk about it every now and then. Those cryptid creatures and everything. So
Dude, Witcher came out today. Oh my
I need to
gosh,
watch
I'm
it.
so
I need to
pumped
watch
for
it.
Witcher.
That I would watch like all the documentaries that had like surrounded Bigfoot or whatever. But yeah, that's one of my quirks that I love. And,
I like it, dude.
I still like.
Love it.
But yeah, all right. Let's switch back over to a little bit more about Zach. Getting into the hobby and progressing as you have. How did that relationship come about with you and Rusty? And how did Marshall fit into that too? Because he's a mod on Rusty's channel now.
Yeah, so it was what's really weird is I almost want to say I've never met Rusty in person,
Mm-hmm.
but that's not true. It's just that when I met Rusty, he had no idea who I was. So I met him at Leonhardt's Pop Shop. I met so many people there. I met Pat, I met Leonhardt, I met Rev, and I met Rusty, and a handful of other people. So I don't know if you guys want to insert yourself into this community, go to these events, meet these people, meet other people, talk to them, and then once we started like live streaming and like my brother really like Lost started really getting to the hobby, he was watching. I'm not gonna name drop, but he was watching some of what I would consider to be not the best content. And I was like, dude, if you want to learn about this hobby and you want to learn from a true OG, like, I don't think there's anybody who's been on YouTube in the hobby longer, with very few exceptions. I was like, watch TCA Gaming.
Yeah.
I was like, at the time, he didn't have a face cam. I was like, he doesn't have a face cam. He just shows you the cards. He talks about the cards. He talks about the set. And to be honest with you, as far as people in the community go, I look up to Rusty probably more than anybody else. He's kind of like, in my opinion, and maybe I look up to him to a detriment, but he's like, in a sense, the North Star. Like if something comes up in the hobby that is controversial,
Yeah.
and I don't know where I stand on it, I go to his perspective and like I see what he thinks about it first.
Right.
So
He's your favorite Pokemon YouTuber's favorite YouTuber. I feel like so like
yes,
yeah, he's
exactly,
your
exactly.
I don't know if I phrased that right, but yes.
He's the first face on the Mount Rushmore of PokeTubers. Like
Yeah.
he's the guy, and the fact that we work with Rusty is still kind of mind blowing to me. And I'd almost be embarrassed if he heard this because he wouldn't give a shit. He's like, "What are you talking about, dude?" He's like, "I'm just a person. Like, it doesn't matter." But like, no, like when you're in this hobby for years and like you have that person that you look up to,
Yeah.
you know, working with them is like a very strange experience. But the only reason we worked with him is because Law inserted himself in Rusty's life. He just did. He was there on Rusty's first live stream.
Nice.
And he was just in every single chat, dropping crazy super chats. Not that you have to like buy into people's like good side, but I mean it doesn't hurt. Like if you want to be seen in a chat full of 500 people, sometimes it's what you got to do. And he was always there. And I don't know. It's kind of like the boyfriend in the movie that's always there, right? And one thing led to another, and Rusty's like, "Oh dang, man." He's like, "I should probably mod you, Martial Law," and then he just modded him. So him and Law became friends completely outside of like me meeting Rusty at the pop shop, and you know, me being a huge fan of Rusty, and it was absolutely hilarious, man. You know, I didn't even know that he was watching the streams, and I would be in the stream and I would see Martial Law, and I didn't even know that that was my brother at the time. I legitimately didn't know that that was him, that was his tag, until like afterwards. Hilarious. So I don't know how to explain it, man. You can physically just insert yourself into a hobby, and one thing will lead to another. Just be persistent, be there, be a part of it, be in the action. And I don't know, we got super lucky. I think that's the best way we can explain it. And then you know, Rusty was super new to live streaming.
Yeah.
And that's really how the relationship started. So Law was a mod, but you know, he needed help like setting up his stream. He didn't know what OBS was. You know, he had only streamed from like a laptop.
Yeah.
So like we kind of helped him get past like the initial hurdles of, you know, what do I need to do to be a live streamer? And he was super grateful for that. And obviously, I mean, maybe not obviously, but he has like the #1 eBay store in the hobby. There might be a few others that you could say compete with him, but he's like the #1 guy.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like, you know, we help him, he helps us, we help him, he helps us. I started doing thumbnails for him and like helping him with thumbnails and stuff like that. So
yeah,
it's really just kind of like things just kind of fell into place. It's been surreal, dude. I don't know how else to explain it. It's like he's such a goat, man. And when we're talking about nice guys, I know like dude, it's so easy and it's so cliche to say he's a nice dude, but genuinely it's a different level nice, man. Like he is a different level, like authentic chill dude. He just is.
You know what's funny? Like the difference between like Marshall and how he is like on his stream, and then Rusty and how he is on his stream, and I'm just like, it's dude, hilarious. It's hilarious that they work so well, you know.
It's great, and that's how Law is in real life. I don't know. I'm sure some of the people in the chat have seen some of Law's streams. He hasn't streamed a really long time.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that he can stream again, because like we were saying, there's only one of us. There's only one Dak. There's only one Jay. But
yeah,
when Law streams, you know, we work together. So when he streams, it helps me.
Yeah.
So hopefully Law can get back at it. I don't know if he's still in the chat.
I'm not sure.
Dude, sometimes opposites freaking attract, man. And Law and Rusty, that's a match made in heaven. I love it.
It's hilarious. That's kind of why I wanted to know for myself too. I'm like, how the hell did that like come together? Because they're like opposites, you know. And Chris said literal polar opposites. Yeah, man. I know. That's why it was funny. Dak, in here, getting close to to that mark right here. So let's end off on this question right here. Poké Dak, what motivates you? Asks Catch 'em all 22. What motivates you?
Damn, we're getting deep
Hey man,
in these questions.
you didn't. I was gonna ask you a good one to end it off, man.
So I have been, I don't want to say struggling, but I've been thinking about this a lot with more aspects of my life than just like streaming, than work, than fitness.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like the word motivation. I think motivation is an excuse to not do something when you feel like you're not motivated.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been trying to transition from feeling motivated to being disciplined.
Nice.
If that makes sense.
It does.
If there's something that I want to do, I'm going to tell myself I'm going to do it, and I'm going to do it. And if I don't do it, I'm not going to give myself the crutch of I wasn't motivated to do it. I'm not motivated to do it. So I don't think that's the answer that most people would expect. You know, they'd probably expect like, oh, I want to be I want to be the next PokeRev. That really motivates me. No, I truly think that motivation has kept me from doing more things than it has like created more. It's prevented me from opportunities more than it's created.
As you said, you use that as a human. You kind of gravitate to using that as a crutch, like you said. I'm not doing this because I'm just not motivated, you know. Whereas if you train your mind and your body to, you know, stick to a schedule, stick to being disciplined, there's a bigger likelihood, higher chance that you're gonna stick to that and get it done. Which, you know, I agree with, and I've heard that said before, like the way you just worded it. I've heard that said before, and I kind of resonated with it at the time too. And now, like you saying it again, I'm like, okay, maybe that is like the way to look at things, to have a different outlook on life. Because if something's not working, if that motivation isn't getting you motivated, maybe you got to look from outside sources or think outside the box at a different way to help you get those things done.
Yeah.
Dak,
couldn't have said it better.
I appreciate you being in here, man. This was a fun conversation, and you know, eventually we're gonna have to do it again because I feel like we can still have conversations and, you know, keep it going from there. So when you get to 100,000 subs in a couple months, we'll have you back on here.
Yeah, right. No, it's been a struggle, bro. If we can get to 11,000 by the end of the year, I'll be a happy guy. But no, either way, man, I want to be back in this. This is fun. This is maybe this is the next thing, man. Maybe you unlock the next step. This has been an enjoyable experience, man. I hope it's enjoyable for the viewer. Yeah, like that's the hard part, right?
Right.
Like, people enjoy watching it.
I can't gauge it yet. You know, I can you know, ask, you know, if you guys have been enjoying it, you know, make sure you guys leave a comment after this. But I mean, I've been enjoying the hell out of being able to, you know, talk to you guys. The conversation. I like conversation. I like being part of it, having fun with it. So that's been a big fun thing for me to be able to talk to everybody coming by. You know, like you said, like all the people I kind of came up with. It's a good way to, you know, pick other people's minds, learn more, and, you know, broaden your horizons, guys. So again, Dak, I appreciate the hell out of you for being in here, hanging out. Thanks for your time in here. Hannah, thanks for giving me his time.
Jay says thank you. She said thank you. Or he said thank you for giving him your time.
Oh my gosh. She said, it's okay. You're welcome. You're welcome.
Let me, before we get out of here, guys, stick around. I'm going to redirect you to another streamer so we can do a raid. We're going to do a Dak J raid. Let me set this up. 1 second. Nice. I was setting it up in the background as I was speaking. Trying to multitask and everything. But guys, thank you all so much. B-Pop, appreciate you. Kate B, Mr. Chonkachu, J Chocolate, Chris Dungy, Matt Champ, OPB, Laura, Cuz, Tam Fam, all my mods, Clampy, Stephen Kahn, Gassy Grabs. Thank you all so much for being in here, showing love to me. Make sure you guys are subbed to Poké Dak, of course. His link is down low in the description. !Dak in the chat. Pokeballer Mike, my man, appreciate you. Until next time, guys, my name is Joey. This is Poké Dak. Peace out, guys. Make sure you guys go raid. Chris Dungy on the one gifted. Appreciate you. KB getting gifted. Thank you, guys. Peace out.